name's Noah Watkins. Are you tired of horror movies being predictable? Darn teenagers leaving the door open for the bad guy again, or the girl runs away from the bad guy and trip! Oh, there's always just that one thing that catches her foot. But recently, found footage has been a really big thing. You know, the whole, is there a ghost in our house? What's going on? I hope someone finds this footage and finds how horrible this ghost was.
Dude, chill out. You're turkey, man.
Horror movies weren't always this predictable. They all went through a whole bunch of phases throughout history. You know what? Let me tell you about them. It all started in 1895 with the Lumiere brothers and what they used to call spook tales. And then in 1896, George Méliès made The Manor of the Devil, which is regarded as one of the very first horror films ever. In 1910, we got the first Frankenstein adaptation by Thomas Edison Studios. German Expressionism took off after the war. It was a time of painted-on shadows and strange distortion effects on the backgrounds. That's what made it so iconic. Universal Pictures was one of the main studios in the late 1920s, 1930s that brought the audience the full horror experience and began with the gothic horror Dracula. Many studios followed this wave with the release of Frankenstein in 1931, The Mummy in 1932, The Invisible Man in 1933, and Werewolf in London in 1935. Unfortunately, what the horror industry is known so well for is their likelihood to make sequels. The Invisible Man returns, The Mummy's Hand, and Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. And in 1942, RKO came out with their first hit, Cat People. Because RKO was able to produce these low-budget horror films, they were able to produce an abundance of them. Now we enter the sci-fi monster mashup. With the arms race coming in, that created a whole new level of fear for viewers. So the film industry took advantage of that. With films like Godzilla, Body Snatchers, and Forbidden Planet. All these films all played on that scary idea of monsters, nuclear war, etc. Now we come around the final turn for the industry, with the end of the 1950s belonging to a man named William Castle, who believed in exciting the audience with advertisements of possibly being scared to death. He also implemented another dimension of the horror genre by putting joy buzzers in theater seats, encouraging screams and horrors during his films. In the 1960s, Alfred Hitchcock came onto the scene, bringing the scares of the screen to reality with the film Psycho. There were also those who resorted to their roots in horror by revamping old monster movies, which Hammer Studios did from 1957 to 1974. Leading into the 70s, the opulent era began with The Exorcist in 1973, followed by The Omen in 1976 and Amityville Horror in 1979. Spielberg arises from film school and creates Jaws in 1975, later making Poltergeist in 1982. Between then, we have the cult classic The Shining. With the indie films on the rise, we also see The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and one of the most successful indie films ever, John Carpenter's Halloween. This era is also responsible for the birth of Freddy and Jason. We reached the 90s, leading to Peter Jackson's Dead Alive in 1992, followed by the soon-to-be crazed Scream in 1996. This would also lead to our first taste of found footage in 1999 with the Blair Witch Project.